Hello everyone, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. In today's video, I'm going to be showing you all of my reading journal entries and books that I read in January 2021. I will show you how I do my personal reading journal entries and also what books I am starting for February. Without further ado, let's get into it. I finished the first book of the Delirium trilogy, which is titled Delirium by Lauren Oliver. I actually finished that in December, so that is why it is not included in this video. But the first book that I completed in January 2021 was book 2 of the Delirium trilogy, called Pandemonium, and I really enjoyed it. I ended up giving this book 5 stars in my review. And here I'm just pasting in the cover of the book into my visual library so I can look back on it and see the book covers of all the books that I finished. I had some questions in the comments of my setting up a reading journal video asking me how I printed out these book covers, and so I figured I would briefly explain how I do this. The first thing I do is measure the boxes in my visual library by inches to see how big and how wide they are. And then I upload images of the book covers that I read from the internet into Google Docs, which is a free document maker online. And in the Google Docs, there's actually a ruler at the top and side of the spread so that you can see and use the dimensions in centimeters or inches to measure the book cover the exact measurement as your visual library box. Once I upload the photos into that Google Docs, I just crop the image into that size and make sure that they are the exact same size. It did take me a few trial runs to get it perfect, but then you print that out on a piece of paper, cut it out, and then it should fit perfectly into that box. As you can see, I gave Pandemonium 5 stars, and my reading entry says, I am very impressed with book number 2. Usually book 2 and trilogies are a bit neglected, I feel, so this was a pleasant surprise. Oliver was brave to make some of the decisions she made throughout this book, but I find myself falling in love with the most unexpected characters. Very well thought out and planned, and I'm very much looking forward to book 3. Here, I just thought it would be cool to show a little transition from old into the new book. So I am starting Requiem at this point, which is book 3 of the trilogy, and I was very excited. This next reading journal entry is from Requiem, which I finished pretty soon after because I was so hooked into the series, I just couldn't stop reading, to be honest. I also read this book as a physical book instead of an ebook or an audiobook, so that is why I color-coded it green. As you can see here, I finished this book within 6 days of starting it, which I thought was really impressive for me because I really don't find much time to read, so this was very interesting to see how fast I blew through this book. I only gave this book 4 stars, and it will explain why in my journal entry, but I do want to preface that 4 stars is a phenomenal book already. It just wasn't 1000% perfect in my mind. So this is what I wrote for my journal entry. This book finished off the Delirium trilogy, and although it was, again, another incredible book, I just was left a bit underwhelmed and with lots and lots of questions. Hopefully, the Delirium Stories book fills in some of the blanks. Book number 3 felt slow up until the last 5 chapters, and then it felt like a snowball. I would have preferred if it was planned a bit better and would not be upset if it had to be longer to achieve that goal. I will say it left me jaw-dropped and speechless and wanting more, but I just wish it didn't end so abruptly. The next book that I read was The Delirium Stories with Hannah, Annabelle, Raven, and Alex. I ended up giving this Delirium Stories book 4 out of 5 stars only because I really enjoyed 2 out of the 4 mini-stories, and I feel like to get 5 stars I would have to really enjoy all of them. This was my entry for this book. I definitely enjoyed these mini-stories, but I wish I got more answers out of them. A lot of them cleared the air on some of my questions, but I did find myself getting bored in some of the chapters of the Annabelle and Hannah stories just because I felt that there were some unnecessary additions. My favorite story was definitely Raven's. I really enjoyed learning more about her past as well as her relationship with Tack. So cute. I definitely loved this series, I just think I want more. I loved this world that I entered when I picked up these books though. The next book that I'm starting is Agatha Christie's And Then There Were None. Please, I know a lot of you have probably already read this book, but please try not to spoil anything in the comments. I really want to experience this book just like everybody else without any spoilers of who the killer is. I am also starting The Devil in the White City by Erik Larson because I have to read it for school. I do think that I want to start incorporating more nonfiction text though, so I'm pretty glad that I'm starting to dig into it with some school assignments. If you have any other book recommendations, please leave some in the comments below. I really like dystopian and romance and adventure and fantasy. There really isn't much that I don't like, except I'm not a huge fan of horror. 3 books might not seem like much to you to read in a whole month, but I am really happy with myself that I was able to finish 3 books and start 2 new ones. I definitely want to start reading more in the future though, and just consuming more knowledge because I think reading is so vital to learning and always expanding vocabulary and all of that kind of stuff. Plus, it's always fun to just pick up a book and escape from reality for a while. This brings us to the end of my January reading journal entries video. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed it, please feel free to leave a like down below and go ahead and comment what book you are currently reading right now. Also, you can consider subscribing if you enjoy bullet journal, reading journal, lettering, and all other kind of content like that. As always, if you have any tips, recommendations, or requests, feel free to leave them in the comments down below, and I will do my best to make some fun videos. Until the next, bye.